Hi guys, welcome to your next lecture series. I hope everybody's enjoying their day off today. Today's lecture is going to be a short one. We're going to look at Paul Berlin, A Man Divided, to get you guys a little bit more information for your short responses. Everything's going to take place on one slide today, so there's going to be lots of talking and lots of note-taking. The slide will get a little bit full of information, but it will also wrap up pretty quickly. So let's get started. We're going to start off first with the first part of Paul Berlin's name, which is Paul, obviously. And that comes from this guy, who was originally named Saul of Tarsus. And he was a persecutor of Christians who then underwent a conversion and changed his name to Paul, and then became a leader within the Christian church and one of the foundations for what was to become the Christian church and eventually the Catholic Church later on. So Paul, formerly Saul, is the first part of our main character's name. And this is just going to signify to us a change in behavior, or a divide in behavior, because he went from someone who was finding Christians and hunting them down and killing them to somebody who was basically the head of the Christian church for a while. So that's our first piece of division within our character's name. Our second piece of division comes from the name Berlin, which is the Berlin Wall, which is what you see all along here. This is going to be our Berlin Wall, all of that area in there. The Berlin Wall was, it began construction in 1961 and was built to keep West and East Berlin separate. It was built because West Berlin still had a fairly high concentration of Nazi supporters after the end of World War II, and they were worried about Nazis kind of continuing their activities and following people into East Berlin. So the Berlin Wall constructed is going to represent for us a divide in beliefs, because we have the Nazis and then the people who believed in democracy and in rule of law in East Berlin. So far, we have Paul of Tarsus representing a divide in behavior, and the Berlin Wall representing a divide in beliefs. Now, you may be wondering why I have this picture of Homer Simpson down here in the corner. Homer Simpson has an angel and a devil on his shoulders. You can see right here, he's got the angel and the devil. This is, again, suggestive of man's kind of divided nature. We've been fascinated with this idea of our choices mattering and our choices being right and wrong for a long time. And actually, it's kind of an interesting side note. You will notice that the angel is on Homer's right shoulder and the devil is on his left. What's interesting about this is the Latin word for left is actually sinister. That means to be on the left-hand side. Left hand is often considered evil or bad. That's why Jesus, if you look in the Bible, sits at the right hand of God, because that is the holy or the pure side, and the evil side is the left hand. Just kind of an interesting idea. Homer here represents this kind of choice that people feel, this kind of divide within themselves between the sinister and I guess we'll say the holy, for lack of a better word, or the correct. And we are fascinated with this idea of making incorrect or correct choices. And so Paul Berlin's name is signifying that divide, both the divide in behavior and the divide in beliefs that we feel within ourselves. It most often gets displayed as this angel and devil on our shoulders. With Paul Berlin, it gets displayed in his name, that he is a man who has divisions, who makes choices, who has consequences to those choices that he has to deal with. Your writing assignment, your short response for this weekend, involves you looking for examples of Paul dealing with these choices, being on one side or another of a divide, having to make a choice between his right hand and his left hand and what he wants to do. So hopefully this brief introduction to Paul's name and the symbolism of division within his name will kind of help you as you look through going after Cacciato and looking for an example where you see Paul dealing with a choice. Please make sure that you complete that short response number 1 in time for Monday, and then also make sure that you go online and take the quick quiz to make sure that you were paying attention during this lecture. Thank you for your attention. Mr. Miller out.